Hello there, I'm Greg Sadler, and I would like to tell you about a great educational opportunity that will be happening beginning in March. It is a 5-week online class that is focused on ancient philosophical treatments of the emotion of anger. And this is a class that is part of the APPA Academy. The APPA stands for American Philosophical Practitioners Association, which is probably best known for its promotion of philosophical counseling / philosophical practice, but which also offers online classes like this, not just for actual practitioners, but for the general public who would like to join in. And so this is an area of my particular specialization and research. I have been studying and working on ancient philosophy and anger for close to 25 years. At this point, I started with Aristotle, got into the Stoics, added in a bunch of other people as time went on. So I want to tell you a little bit about this class. You can find a link to the class site below where you can also find this information, or you can enroll in the class. So it's open to 12 participants. It's capped at that number. And we begin on Sunday, March 9th, and we will go all the way into the first week of April, with our last meeting being on Sunday, April 6th. And what are we going to be doing? So anger was a problem in ancient times as much as it is in our own time, and so they tried to wrap their head around it. They tried to make sense of it. And you might not know this, but there's a lot of really interesting and insightful philosophical writings about the emotion of anger in all of the major philosophical traditions of the ancient world. And so what we're going to be doing is studying what they have to say and then thinking about how we can actually apply the lessons that they're teaching us in our modern life. And as it turns out, lots and lots of applications, practices, insights that are just as relevant to our contemporary world as they were in ancient times. So our first session, we're going to be looking at Platonic perspectives on anger. So you can guess that, of course, we're going to look at Plato himself and what he has to say about thumos, this spirited part of the soul that gets angry. Does it do anything helpful for us? But we're also going to look at an important Middle Platonist who wrote a whole book called On Controlling Anger, and that's Plutarch. Week 2, we're going to look at the first person who really comes up with a systematic theory of anger, somebody who started his own philosophical school and tradition, and that is Aristotle. So Aristotle has a lot to contribute about understanding this emotion in a variety of different ways, moral perspectives, psychological perspectives, others as well. Then week 3, we're going to go to another important philosophical school, the Epicureans, because as it turns out, Epicurus has some stuff to say about anger, and so does Lucretius. You may have read his great poem on the nature of things. And then we've got a later Epicurean whose works we've been slowly rediscovering at Herculaneum, and that is Philodemus. And he actually has a book called On Anger, which of course, unfortunately, we don't have in its whole, but he says some stuff about anger in other places that's really, really relevant. Then we get to probably the biggest heavy hitters of ancient times when it comes to anger, and that is the Stoics. We'll be looking at what Seneca has to say in a book that is explicitly called On Anger, which has all sorts of cool arguments and perspectives and practices that you can apply. We'll also look at what Epictetus has to say. He's got some useful things, and Marcus Aurelius. And then we'll finish up by looking at what early Christian thinkers who viewed themselves as philosophers and quite arguably are so, and were engaging with ancient pre-Christian philosophy, but understanding it now within a different religious framework. What do they have to say about anger? And we're going to look at a number of them, including Lactantius, who's got a whole treatise on the anger of God, which actually turns out to be about our human anger as well. John Chrysostom, who has some selections about it. John Cassian, the great monastic author, who devotes an entire book to it in his Institutes. And then finally, Augustine of Hippo. And we'll be looking at each of these and seeing what it is that they have to say. So 5 main perspectives on the emotion of anger. Not all of them in complete agreement about every single point, but engaging with each other, building on each other in ways that we, human beings, in the present can definitely use. So if you're interested in taking this course with me, Greg Sadler, on an area of philosophy that I find particularly interesting, have been not just researching, but applying in my own life and with my philosophical counseling clients for years and years and years, then you might consider signing up for this class. It's meeting on Sundays for sessions from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, so that's 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time, which is where I'm located. Great time of the day, great day to get together and talk about this troublesome emotion. If you take this class, you're going to come away not just with a good understanding of a variety of different philosophical perspectives, but with insights and practices that you can apply in your own life, in your, relationships, your career, in your neighborhoods, wherever else you might be having trouble with anger. So that's enough from me. It's up to you whether you want to join in. I'm really looking forward to teaching this class. I always enjoy these online settings. So consider enrolling, and perhaps I will see you there.